Okay, guys, welcome back to lesson 3. We're gonna go a little bit deep on comparison operators, logical operators, and then we're gonna do persistence, and then safety and error handling. So we have a lot to do today. We're gonna go ahead and start with, as you see here on the screen, comparison operators. This helps us make decisions on our code by comparing values. Okay, so here's the list. So when you deal with equal, equal to, when you want to do an equal from like 5 equals 5, you got to make sure you put two equals, because remember, an equal means something else in Python. So when you're doing comparisons, you got to do double equals. Okay, so this would be a true statement here when you're doing comparison of operators. Okay, not equal to. There's two ways to do this. So I'm going to do the first one. Not equal to would be a exclamation mark with an equal, and 5 is not equal to 4. Okay, so this is going to be a true statement here. Okay, and then when we deal with greater than, of course, you have the duck, what everybody says, the duck, peck. So 5 is greater than 4, which is, this will be a true statement. And then we're going to move on to less than. So 5 is less than 4, which will be a true statement here when you're doing comparison of operators. Greater than or equal to. Okay, so here you have 5 greater than or equal to 5, which is a true statement here. Okay, when you do less than or equal to, 4 is less than or equal to 5, which is true because it is less than. It's not equal, but it's still considered to be less than. Okay, and then here you have and. Okay, so when you're doing two different kinds, you have 5 is greater than 4 and 3 is greater than 2, which is a true statement. Here you have the or. 5 is greater than 4 or 2 is greater than 3, which is going to be a true statement, even though 2 is not greater than 3. It's saying or. So one has to be true for it to be a true statement, because it's right here, as you can see, it's or. And here not 5 is greater than 4, but it's saying not. So it's saying that 5 is not greater than 4, which is considered to be a false statement because 5 is greater than 4. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about operator procedures. Okay, so to understand operator procedures is crucial to avoid mistakes in your calculations. For example, multiplication or division are performed before addition and subtraction. When in doubt, use parentheses to ensure the correct order or operation. Okay, so one way to do that is, let me go ahead and start writing it. So I'm going to go ahead and put results. Okay, equals 3 plus 4 divided by 2. Okay, when you do this, okay, the results for this is 11. Okay, so 4 times 2 is 8 plus 3 is 11. Okay, so you guys got me there. Okay, so it's gonna do the operation procedures, which is your multiplication, division, and then so on and so on. Now, if you want a different result from this, and let's just go ahead and put parentheses on them. Okay. Go with equals. Let's go ahead and put parentheses on this. So 3 plus 4 divided by 2. Okay, so now the results for this one is 14. Why is that? Okay, so the reason for that is because everything in parentheses is going to be done first, then anything out of the parentheses is going to be done second. So in parentheses, it's going to still going to be the operation of procedure, but since there's no multiplication or division in there, it's going to automatically go with the plus. Because you can also put here multiplication and put a 4, and what it does here on the parentheses, it's going to do the operation here of sequence by 4 times 4 will be 12, and then 15, well, yeah, 15, and then 15 times 2 is 30. Okay, so that, keep that in mind. So when you're doing parentheses, everything in parentheses is going to be done, but it's still going to do the operation of procedures when it comes to that. And it also has to make sense, because if you do this, five divided by 0, it's going to throw out an error because there's no such thing as 5 divided by 0. Okay, so it's going to throw, this will throw an error. Okay, so it has to make sense when you're doing math and when you're doing your programming, because when you're doing blocks and blocks of programming, you got to make sure that it makes sense, because it just has to make sense, because it's going to just throw an error. Let me see. Invalid syntax equals, okay, well, let's go ahead and it's gonna, since I have all this stuff on top, it's not gonna give me anything. Okay, so right now, what I want you guys to do is do some practical exercises right now, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my screen right now in a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it so I can go ahead and start doing the calculations. I'm gonna create variables, like for A equals 5, variable B will be 2, and then we're gonna do some addition, some subtraction, some multiplication with that, and then we're gonna go ahead and use comparison operators to check if it's greater than and then we're going to do some combined logical operators. So let me just go ahead and pause it here. I'm going to go ahead and start doing what I need to do. That way I can have it on the screen for you guys, and then we're going to go ahead and move on from there. Alrighty, so as you can see in the screen, I put A equals 5, B equals 4, and C equals 8. Okay, so the variables, that's what we're going to be using as variables for now. And then what I went ahead and put here, I put print, and I put A plus B equals, okay, and then this is going to be your addition, A plus B. When you run it, it should be A plus B equals, let me go ahead and take this off, rerun it. So A plus B equals 9. So okay, so there's two things here that is being done, and which I forgot to mention on the other one when we're doing the simple math and subtract. When I put sum of 9 and 14 equals and all that good stuff, I was kind of like explaining what I was going to go ahead and add or subtract here as a print statement. But in reality, you don't have to do that. It's just I'm kind of like doing it in a way to explain it to you guys on how to do it. And you can do it this way, or you don't have to do any other print statement. You can just do the simple math. But I like to show my viewers ways of doing it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move forward from here. So variable A, you can see is a 5, and the plus variable B, you can see it's a 4. Okay, and then we're gonna, of course, equals. So A plus B equals, of course, when you add it, it's 9. Okay. What we can also do is we can go ahead and do alrighty. Let me go back here. So what we can do is A. We can go ahead and put it in A plus B in parentheses, right? We're gonna do it and then we're gonna do times 8. Let me see. Okay, give me 1 minute. 1 minute. Okay, so times 8. Just gotta make sure everything is correctly. So what we're gonna do is parentheses 8 plus B, and then times 8. Okay, so when you run it, A plus B, right, as you can see here, is done first, and then times 8, which will give you 72. So A and B times 8. I could have used C, and let's go ahead and do that. And gives you the same thing, because we use the variable C as an 8. So you see how, however you guys do it, it's still gonna give you the same number that you're trying to get. So you can use A, B, C like I'm using here, or you can use the number. and it's going to give you the same thing. So that's the good thing about variables, is that you can use letters for numbers, and if you forget what variable you use for a certain number, you could always also use the number, and it's going to give you the same thing. Okay, so it's going to be a plus b, which is 9, and then times 8 is 72. Well, c, which is 8, is 72. However you guys want to see it. Okay, so you pretty much got the basics down. So now you have to create variables, and you know how to create variables, how to use basic operators. But what about those special um, math functions? Those can be a little bit tricky, but don't worry. Python got your back because it's already in the system. So let's go ahead and dive in and explore the functions. So what we'll be trying to learn is understand and use various Python built-in functions related to numbers. Okay, we'll go ahead and start learning the math libraries and their utilities, gain practical insights through examples. The first function that we will be talking about is the ABS. So ABS function is like, truthfully, like GPS for numbers. It points you to the positive side of numerical roll by returning the absolute value of a number. Okay, simply it turns negative numbers into positives. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on that real quick. What I mean by that. Oops. Okay, so when we do this, the output should be 42. Okay, so let's go ahead and erase all this up here. Okay, so the output should be 42. So ABS does is what it does is creates a negative number to a positive. Okay. So just a safety tip, this function takes integers and floats. So don't throw any other data types on this. You're looking for errors. Okay, and then we have what is called a ceil function, which is ceil. Okay, which is it's part of the Python library. It rounds off a floating point number up to the nearest integer. Okay, so remember you have to import math first. Okay, so to do that, you're gonna do import. Okay, which remember it's already there. Import math. Okay, and then we're gonna do print math dot ceil. Okay. 42.1. So the output for this should be 43. Okay, remember it goes up. Okay, 43. Okay, so remember ABS does a negative to a positive. When you do the ceil, SEIL, remember that you have to import math. Okay, and I'll get a little bit more into the imports later on. So when you do math, which is the import of math, right here, you see how it says import math? You put math here, and then put a dot. Okay, so 42.1. Remember, everything goes up by 1. So the output is 43. As we can see, the output was 43. Okay, I hope I'm not losing you guys. So just a safety tip. Ceil is in the math library. Always remember to import it, okay? It's very important to import the math when you want to use this type. Well, there's multiple types, but for this one. Okay, and remember it's only takes floats and integers as arguments, okay? Now we're going to do the max function and minimum function. Okay. So the max function is always gonna give you the highest number that you have, and then the minimum is gonna give you the lesser amount, the lesser one. Okay, so this is how it goes. Do print. Okay. Max, right? And then here you're gonna write 43, and then 52, and then 5. Okay. Okay. So the output should be 52 on this one. Okay. So let's go ahead and run it. Okay. The output is 52. Now, let me go ahead and copy, paste, and then I'm going to put minimum. Okay, so the output for this one should be 5. Okay. And there you go. You see 5. Okay. So this is the max. It's going to give you the highest number. The minimum. It's going to give you the lowest number. So just remember that you can do this with floats and integers, but make sure to compare apples with apples, okay? So mixing data types like strings and numbers can result into an error. And then we have the, what you call is the POW, P-O-W function, the powerhouse POW. This is straightforward. It takes 2 arguments, like x and y, and return x raised to the power of y. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you guys an example for this one. I'm going to do the print statement. Okay. POW. Okay. 2 and 3. Okay, so this is going to go ahead and give you an an output of 8. Okay. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, so 2 to the power of 3 is 8. So remember, only integers and floats should be used for these arguments as well. Okay, and then there's the other one that we're going to talk about real briefly. It's going to be the root finder, and then it's going to be sqrt function. And this is another member of the math family. Okay, so it's going to call the square root of a number. So don't forget that you have to import math on this one. Okay, so you're going to do import math. Okay, and this is going to be the example print, right? Math.sqrt. Okay, make sure we spell it right. 16. So this is going to give us an output of 4.0. Okay, so the square root, so it's sqrt square root, okay, of 16 is 4.0. So just remember that negative numbers will result in an error, okay? So we're going to go ahead and end it right here. And we'll continue tomorrow with some other functions. So I hope you guys like this one right here. You got a little bit deeper than the first two. It's going to get a little bit harder and harder as we move on. If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll explain it on the next video, because maybe the other people also have that same question. So, don't hesitate to leave a question for me so I can go ahead and answer it. You gotta remember, like I mentioned before, when you're used to doing this stuff, it's just so easy that you have your mindset knowing what you're saying, but not other people understand it until you realize that not everybody has the same mind thinking as you. So if I'm confusing you guys or anything like that, just leave a question, and I'll be happy to answer it on the next video. So that way, if other people have the same question, I can just go ahead and answer for everybody. If you like my video, just go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And see you guys on the next video.